Gotta get back to work here. Okay. Before I left for the store and talked to some beautiful people, um, we have to talk about literacy. Okay. Do you guys understand what literacy really means? Me and a young girl talked about it in the cereal aisle. She had to go because she was, everybody always has to, a lot of times because they got things to do. There's extortion, exploitation. We're on a schedule. We got to be there. And I understand because you have people in your life but we need to stand up for the Lord's Prayer, or what you're doing isn't important, right? If you don't stand up for the Lord's Prayer, everything you're doing is initiated by people that are taking your time and abusing it with extortion, exploitation, and the manipulation of extortion and exploitation. All right. So you have to literally understand things, and they have to make sense, and they have to be something that you can quantify, something based on reality. Okay. So if you think you're reading a book and you think you're understanding a story, and what you're reading you believe in, okay, but it's not literal, then you're illiterate, right? Now, if you can explain to people life is eternal, grace is infinite, okay, me and people in ancient books that gave you the Lord's Prayer share memories, okay? We are of the same spiritual essence that provides life to bodies, okay, that share the same literal truth, okay, to correct all the lie from people that wrote down on a piece of paper something that's not real, and then you believe it, right? I sat down and I thought about this song, and then I turned on that goofy ass movie, I, Robot. Well, I didn't mean to. I meant to look at the basketball scores, but I didn't see that. But there's a song written by a man from Detroit. Okay. It's very superstitious. Wash your face and hands. But washing your face and hands is healthy. Okay. 7 years of bad luck. But when you believe in things you don't understand, superstition is the way. Right. Now, if you believe in things you don't understand, you're superstitious. Okay. When you believe in things you understand, you are faithful to that understanding, right? So it's when you believe in things that are impossible, what you believe is not probable, it's not tangible, it's not rational, right? People get murdered, mass murdered, by corporations that say they are the light, they are the way, not unto the Father except unto them, and then turn that, the life of those words into a book, and then murder in the name of that life, and then turn it into a bank, right? So you can't believe that bank represents the life of David and Jesus, right? If you believe that bank, and they left you a book that says Jesus says, I am God, and if you don't believe that I am God, I will send you to hell. Where is hell? All right. Where is hell? You ever seen that TV show called The Big Bang Theory? And they have a neuroscientist who plays someone like herself on the TV show. She has a boyfriend named Sheldon, and she has a monkey that she addicted to cigarettes living in her apartment, which I don't know if they're allowed to do that, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe for comedy skit reasons and marketing they can. But she sits there and she says, he's kind of an ass. And the boyfriend, as he's sitting there blowing smoke in his face, says, you really are an ass. And then the boyfriend says, who's to say you shouldn't be studying our brains? Now, If you accepted the Lord's Prayer 2025 years ago, would you be studying monkeys' brains that you addicted to cigarettes and understanding what was wrong with the brain when you get it addicted to cigarettes? So why should the monkey be studying Sheldon and Amy's brain if we're not engaged in extortion, exploitation, and manipulation and torturing the monkey because we accept extortion, exploitation, and manipulation as reality? Right? Okay. So when you read something and you don't literally understand it, and then you try to tell people things that are not real and tell them they have to believe in them or you will kill them, okay, then you literally are insane, right? So when people in Germany in the 1920s and 30s were rounded up, and in the 40s, and tortured for illiteracy, from illiteracy, right? The only thing that can save people from that happening again is literacy, right? You need to literally understand the spoken word and then live the spoken word without literally murdering each other because you're illiterate, right? Okay. So you have a bunch of people, you put them into a building, you say that money is real. These people will murder over money because you accept it as reality. And then you say that you have laws according to this money, and then you declare yourself literate, right? Any of you guys watching iRobot too? After the basketball game where they made lots of money? How do you make money? You don't make money. You don't. Make? What do you make? That's a very loaded word. Okay. Make. When you think you're making something, what you're literally doing is manipulating matter. Okay. And you take this matter and then you manipulate the matter, and then you have a chair. Okay. You have a radio. You have a little box for TV shows, right? Okay. So, but that wasn't created. All right. They didn't make it. They understood the manipulation of matter and were able to manipulate with their capacity to understand how to manipulate, right? But they're not making something. They're just taking something that's already there and manipulating it. Okay. They're not being creative because they're not taking nothing and turning it into something, right? But you can't do that either. You don't want to be Stephen Hawking and then try to kill God with your imagination and then invent Oompa Land, right? And everybody accepts it as reality because of all the bullshit from all the people that turned the literal understanding of religion into a murdering bank, right? Do you understand? Wow. Okay, Earl. I talked to a man today. He said Muhammad was not the Messiah and only Jesus was the Messiah. And Saladin was just a person that was very good. And Hud was a person that was very good, but Jesus is the Messiah, Muhammad's the prophet, Muhammad's the last prophet. Okay. Okay. Lots of people say that. Okay. I think that's to appease the masses so they think they won't get mass murdered by the masses. You know. Let's correct the Catholic Church, but let's try not to piss them off too bad so they don't try to murder us off the face of the planet, right? Okay. And if they murder you off the face of the planet, does that kill God, Stephen Hawking? Right? So if you don't have faith in God, you're going to do things to appease people that will murder you and try to murder you and your seed off the face of the planet so they can establish their dominance, their greatness, their order, their old order, their new order, whatever order they may label it, right? So stop doing that, okay? Bring order to yourself and then shine as light as you can and share that order with others. Like me and the young smiling Buddhas in the Mexican food aisle. Do you understand? They were sweethearts, okay? Understand, like I talked with the Muhammad brothers in the parking lot, okay? That I am he that was he before me, and me, without me, there is no he, and without he, there is no me. There cannot be the love of Christ without me today. So I am he that was he before me, and he cannot be he without me. Do you understand what they were saying? The only way faith, hope springs eternal for faithful love is if the faithful share the spirit of he. Okay, guys? I love you. Let's load this one up, see how long it takes. Make it fast. Come on, NASA. Let's get to work here. Let's live some love right now. I mean, for crying out loud. I love you, little brats.